Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for meeting with me on such short notice. We have a meeting tonight with our district partner, so I wanted to review some academic data we have mid-year, talk through some things. I'm hoping we can have a conversation about each of the programmatic levels, maybe look at some trends, and definitely come out of here with some action items that I can share in my meeting tonight. So let's take a look at our current withdrawal metrics. We are holding steady at 31.5%. There's a slight uptick. I think at this time of year, we expect just a little bit mid-year after the holiday, a little increase in student withdrawals. We are still below the target, which is great. We're below the target and we're well below where we were 2 years ago and below where we were last year. So that's all really great news. It means that we're heading in the right direction. So definitely a celebration here. I definitely want to take a look though, a deeper dive into this. Let's take a look at enrollment. Enrollment is up across the board in all grade levels. When we look at special program students, by and large, we are also up in populations in special programs for most grade levels, but I don't think there's anything here that is indicative of a change that needs to be made or anything that we've done. It just might be a fluke that in some of these cases the grade level numbers are lower because enrollment is up across the board. I love that graph on the bottom right, just looking at the students that have been with us. And, you see a little dip in 2 years, the students that have been with us 2 years. Sometimes that is students leaving us from the middle school because they want to go back to their brick and mortar high school. But I definitely like to see that students are staying with us. That's really great news to see that less than a year and then that to go up those students that have been with us a year. As we know, the longer a student is with us, the more success we see, less likely they are to withdraw. So that's really great news there. Let's take a look at the cumulative withdrawal rates by programmatic level and also new and returning. Definitely some information here to take a deeper look at. The students that are new to us, we're seeing a slight increase in withdrawals over last year. We are also a little bit less. We have a few more withdrawals this year for returning students than we did last year. Last year we were down at this time -7.3. This year -4.8. So definite conversations to be had about perhaps why we're seeing this. I think the bigger conversation is the new students. And maybe we could take a deeper look at their withdrawal reasons, seeing why they're leaving us, look at some root causes, some trends, and make some decisions there. If we look on the right side, the programmatic level, you can see that elementary is slightly above the target. You'll see in a second, they're kind of coasting on that target line for new students and returning students. So definitely something to watch, but I don't think anything that perhaps is indicative of, something going on there. When I look at middle school and high school, you guys are riding steady, about 2%, 1% increase. Year over year. So maybe let's have a conversation about some things that you're doing by programmatic level to ensure that students are staying with us. This is a lot to look at. Basically, what I want you to look at is the dark blue line and the dark orange line, and then compare that to the dotted line. The dotted line is going to be your target. The dark blue and the blue dotted are going to be our new students and the target, and then the orange is going to be returning students and the target. Again, withdrawals are above target for new students. Overall, we can see that in that first graph. Withdrawals are below target for returning students. Middle school and high school are well below. So again, maybe some conversation there, middle school and high school, to see, exactly what you're doing to keep that orange line so far below that orange dotted line, that target. Elementary is kind of riding that target, and let's not forget that elementary also has the largest population. Okay. Again, I just put this dot in here. Persistence improves as students stay in the program. The longer they're with us, the longer they're going to stay with us, most likely, and the more success they have. So this is definitely something for us to be keeping an eye on and making sure that we are making changes even in year to improve the student persistence. All right, so here are some withdrawal demographics. A lot to look at here. I think the biggest thing I've highlighted at the bottom with a giant red arrow is the students that are withdrawn. It says days between last system login and their withdrawal, and you'll see that 33 students of the 92, their last login was 11 to 20 days. So definite action there that we're going to chat about in a second. When we're looking at that left go box, you can see that we do have quite a few students that were not engaged, and we're also not passing courses. And then if you look at the right, another kind of red flag for me is that progress, that student progress. It says percentage of in progress courses sufficient at withdrawal, and you can see that many of them were not sufficient with their progress. And we know that there is some correlation to that progress and that grade, even in D2L. So definitely something to take a good look at. Going back just for a second, if we look at that top bar by grade level, 6th grade and 8th grade actually had the highest withdrawal rates across each of the grade levels. And again, that 8th grade I've seen every year, honestly, as a trend as students are heading into naturally high school. They want to go back to brick and mortar, but definitely something to look at 6th grade. We know that the 5th grade transition into 6th grade can sometimes be hard. Are we doing enough to really handhold and keep those students engaged with us? So I want to kind of conclude. I definitely want to hear from you all after taking a look at all that data. You know, we need to take a deeper look at why returning elementary students are leaving us more frequently than middle school and high school. Let's see if we can find perhaps some middle school, high school ideas, best practices that they're using to keep those students engaged. Student progress, we just talked about that, is lacking for those withdrawing families. Grades are also low. What can we do to early identify students falling behind or off track? I had a couple ideas here, but I certainly want to hear from you. I think immediately we need a call campaign from teachers to students with low progress or grades. It's always good to have that connection. We could also look at some trends in subject matter. Are more students struggling in certain subjects? Offer an added layer of support there. That ELA 6 can be a bear sometimes. So is that something that perhaps is causing frustration? The last thing is really an action item for us to leave here today with a plan of action. We need to be on top of missing logins and attendance. Perhaps we can get the auto dialer going for these students. We also can obviously have support from advisors, counselors, content teachers, homeroom teachers, but making sure that the students are not able to go days without missing attendance or logins without us seeing that, connecting with them, making calls, doing everything we can to ensure that they're staying engaged, because the longer they go unengaged, the more likely they are to fall behind, and then we're exiting them out in some cases, or parents are choosing another route. So, but I'm really interested to hear your thoughts and any takeaways you have from this data.